What's up, guys? This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cage Side Press here with the Maori kid, JayJay Wilson, who takes on Archie Colgan October 3rd at the PFL event in Dubai. So, JJ, first of all, let's get the obvious out of the way. Weren't able to finish the tournament. How is the jaw feeling and everything else after the recovery?
It's been a long recovery, to be honest. The worst part about it was definitely not being able to eat. But the jaw's feeling good now. Doctor says, I've made 100% recovery, which is great. So I'm excited.
You always got to ask, obviously getting punched in the face and in the jaw is a big part of being an MMA fighter. When you get back to the gym and, you got to take a few shots, what is that moment like? Because I'm assuming, it's only natural you might feel like flinching or a little nervous a bit, like, hey, can I take them like I'm supposed to? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the first week back training, I was very nervous about it, especially I was more worried about the grappling, especially when people are like squeezing guillotines or dash chokes or rear naked chokes or things like that, especially when you defend by putting your chin down, so they're just squeezing your jaw. Those were the positions I was the most wary about. And for the first week, I was just pre-tapping. Like they just like grabbed my neck. I was just, okay, you good. Like start over, But in terms of like the punching, definitely the first two sparring sessions, I was very anxious about it. I was very worried, like, don't hit me kind of thing. And then, after I took a couple hits, I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine.
So you weren't able to finish it off. Look, we all saw. So Alfie Davis completes the run, beat Gatsir Abadana for the title. Were you keeping up with it? And if you were, what did you think of just him winning the tournament this year?
You know, I saw that fight. I could have seen that. I could have seen that going either way. My personal scorecard, I had Gadzi winning 3 rounds and Alfie winning two. Um, but it could have went either way. It was a very close fight. Just depends on who was watching, who was judging. If it was a striker or a wrestler or grappler, what type of judge was judging that fight. Controversial decision, definitely. Um, Gazi definitely had an easy run there. He got a layup on Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee comes in and gets knocked out with a jab. And Alfie had a very, very tough run there, his all his fights, no, apart from the first fight, knocked the guy out. But Alfie had a good run as well. Um, if I was still in that tournament, it would have been completely different. I feel like Alfie definitely exposed Gazi. My first fight with Gazi, I was very reckless, young, and just like crazy. So I was just running at him with, so I definitely think if I was there fighting, and things didn't go the way that it did, uh, I would be I'd be the champ right now. Because I was meant to fight Alfie a while back, but he pulled out of the fight like a week before. I don't know why. Um, so I was excited. I knew that Alfie was going to go to the final. I even, we had an altercation backstage because, the first time me and Alfie were meant to fight, he was talking shit online and I didn't respond, and then I saw him first time. I saw him since then, and I got in his face and he just like kind of put his head down. Then I was like, make it to the final and then I'm gonna fucking smash your head in. And then obviously I got injured, so um, so I want to get through Archie and I want to call out Alfie. I think that'll be a good little redemption.
I mean, I'm
Prove that I
glad.
was meant to win the title.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think, look, common sense would say Alfie won the tournament. He's the guy who would be lined up to take on the winner of Usman and Paul Hughes. This is not a small fight. You guys are on the main card. Archie's coming in undefeated. Obviously, you were quite the vet of Bellator and now PFL yourself. Personally, I feel like there is an argument to be made that if you guys look impressive, if you go out there, you get an amazing finish, you could kind of change the conversation a little bit about who should be that one right there for that new title fight. What do you think of that?
I think 100%. Like, yeah, he won, but that was a very controversial decision. Also, after they saw me run through match, but now I'm pretty sure I was the favorite to win the tournament. So, there's a high debate. I get it. If they want to give it to him, I'll watch him get smashed from Usman, and then I'll go take on Usman. But you know, I definitely think I want to go that way. I want to go through. I want to beat Archie. If Alfie doesn't want to fight, then I'll take number one contender. I don't really care. I'll take on anybody. Just send me a name, write the check, and then I go.
I do gotta ask you a few things. That obvious one, are you going with Usman in that fight with Paul Hughes, or how do you see that one?
I think Usman's gonna win it. I think it's not gonna be an easy fight for sure. Paul Hughes is a tough guy, but I feel like now that Usman's fought him before, he's got a little bit of experience against him. They gotta adapt their game plan. I know these Russians are very, very smart when it comes to game planning for fights. You can see it in all their fights. They execute the game plan very, very well. And what they do in the third round compared to the first round is they're like completely different fighters. You can see that when they compete, like Olympic wrestling, like wrestlers, the Russians are very, very intelligent when it comes to like strategy. So I think he's going to be able to get the best of him this fight.
Talking about Archie Colgan now, obviously he's had a great little run himself going into this fight undefeated. What do you see that you can exploit that the guys before haven't been able to out there in the cage?
You look through and yes, he's got a great record. I know he's like what I don't even know, like something
12 and
10,
0.
12 and 0. But he's 12 and 0. But you go through the records and there's a couple notable names in there, but not really. Um, Manuel Sanchez, he was a 45er that moved up. Mansoor. But then I watched Mansoor's fight. I was like, Mansoor dropped his mouth guard with the leg, and then he just lost the entire second round, got cut up because of it. I fought Mansoor. Mansoor is not an easy guy. He's very, very tough. I fought him and I dominated him for 3 rounds. Um, so Archie struggled with him, and if Mansoor didn't stupidly try to pick up his mouthpiece and then just mince that whole second round, that fight could have been a lot different. So I think I'm going to be able to exploit him. He's going to be shooting for takedowns. He's going to be praying. I'm just going to walk him down and do what I do.
Um, uh, on that note, just with everything going on, with this fight, happening the same night as the title fight, are you going to take that extra time and cut to championship weight just in case that call might come your way?
Yeah, why not? To be honest, my weight cuts now are easy. I hired amazing nutritionists, and my last weight cut, I made 146 just doing one bath. I did 1 20-minute bath. I was on weight, so I can easily make 55. I'll make 55 just in case they want to call me, and I'll jump and save the main event.
I mean, hey, stay ready. Crazier things happen all the time, right?
Yeah, always, man. Especially nowadays, people not cutting weight correctly. They're cutting too much weight, and then they're getting hospitalized. Like, look at Brian Ortega. He got hospitalized. Lucky he still fought, but usually the commission wouldn't let you fight after a hospital trip.
I do want to ask you before we run out of time, how many jiu-jitsu guys have hit you up or tagged you to show you that they can actually dance? They don't just have to hip escape on the dance floor.
A lot of them messaged me and said, "Why are you telling everybody our secrets?" That's what they said.
Oh man, dude,
You
look,
can't tell everybody our secrets, man.
I feel like you had a couple of jiu-jitsu people had to have been like, wait, that could work. I have a solution now.
I'm telling you, none of them can dance, man. So, I was just trying to
Hey,
help them out.
thank goodness they could choke people out. Finally, man, for the people who are going to be tuning in on October 3rd, what can fans expect when you get out there with Archie Colgan?
I'm gonna go out there and do what I always do. Everyone knows me. I go out there and I try finish the fight any way possible, whether it be grappling, whether it be striking. I can do it all. I'm not gonna go out there and just hold on to somebody and pray that I win. And hope the judges are gonna raise my hand. I go out there and I look for the finish from as soon as that bell rings, all the way to when the bell ends.
Well, JJ, we're looking forward to it. It's always a great fight when we see you in action. Ladies and gentlemen, JJ Wilson, Archie Colgan, Friday, October 3rd for the PFL Road to the Title in Dubai. You guys are not going to want to miss it.